It was always likely to be a big story of the summer transfer window from a Canadian perspective. After a difficult first season in Turin, Jonathan David's future at Juventus remains in question as the new season looms, with links to both Aston Villa and PSG and Paris FC in the French capital. Juve has brought in Randall Kolo Muani, and they've been heavily linked to Joshua Zirkzee from Manchester United as well. Ecuador is a young striker as well. They brought in another young striker. So clearly Spalletti is moving into, Luciano Spalletti, the manager of Juventus, is looking to reshuffle or reframe his attacking options. And the question is, where does Jonathan David stand? Published reports in Italy have really said that the club wants Jonathan David to leave. Jonathan David said publicly during the World Cup that he wants to stay and fight for his place, and it seems like that is still the approach. But he's 26 years old right now. Like, Jimmy, this is a player who's right in his prime. What should his priority be right now? You're being a player that's made big moves over the course of your career. 26, Jonathan David. He's a 4-year contract at Juventus, so he's making the cash already. Yeah. So what should his priority be?
No, but look, he's talking about that he wants to go back because the second part of their second season, he always does very well. Yeah. And he wants to fight for his position. You're at one of the biggest clubs in world football. And I get that. I understand that. You want to go in, you thought, you know what, these guys, you've paid for me, you give me a 4-year contract, I'm going to honor that, and I'm going to show you what I'm capable of doing. But the manager, it seems now, is bringing in more and more players, right? Because maybe he doesn't favor Jonathan David. If it's Jonathan David's agent and you're talking to him right now, it's like, let's get out of here. The manager doesn't fancy you. I've got plenty of clubs I want to give. There's links to PSG, to Aston Villa. There's big clubs that want him. Now, if I'm him, I'm going, you know what? You don't want me. You're bringing in more competition for me. You don't see the value in me. I'm getting myself out this door right now. And I'm going to leave and I'm going to go to a PSG or I'm going to go to the Premier League.
His priority at 26 should be playing, right? He already made that big move, which was always going to be a reach. He's got the dollars, he's got the cash, which makes perfect sense. But I kind of like that he's like, look, if there's not a better offer or an option on the table, then I want to make it work here at Juventus. That's what you'd want. I think it's a horrible situation. You get J.E. David going back and be like, okay, what's the next club I'm going to be at? You kind of want him to fight a little bit and say, hey, I want to show my worth. I have the quality to go and play in the Serie A. I will say Juventus last season, tough team to go and try to score. Specifically, his profile, he's 5'11", and he's not really the guy to like hold up the ball. He needs to find space. They didn't really play to his strengths. Still scored 8 goals in 40-something matches. Like, it wasn't a dreadful season, but it was one that obviously he probably wouldn't want to have back.
But it's signed a big money contract. 8 goals is not a very and he really struggled in the second half.
I get it. Serie A is a very tough league. Let's not forget about this. Defensively, they are so sound and disciplined. It's ridiculous. It's a tough league. It's not the Premier League. It's not the Bundesliga where it opens up.
I totally appreciate that. I'll have a couple things to say on that. One, it was a down year for Italian clubs and Italian football. I think 2 years ago, Serie A was really good. Last year, not so much. The second thing is stylistically. I just don't think the style of play at Juventus suits him. No. Jonathan David is better when he's free to attack space. His off-the-ball running is exceptional. Being in the right place at the right time. Like, he's not that back-to-goal striker. Like, stylistically, like, I just don't think that this is a match. And just like you, Jimmy, if I represent Jonathan David, I said, let's find our next stop. Yeah. Let's find somewhere that's going to take your football persona and traits into consideration and find the best spot for you.
His team's doing
I don't
that.
think it's Juventus.
No, that's fine. His team's probably doing that, right? But people are talking about him being like, oh, you should pack up your bags and be ready to go. Like, you signed with Juve. So if you're going into preseason, I feel like have that mentality that you want to make things work.
No, I agree with you. But imagine you just come back from a World Cup and you sat down and you got 2 more guys in your position.
No, I get it.
You'd be going, what is going on here?
Yeah, 100%. And I know
you don't like me.
And obviously his team and strikers need to be loved. Obviously his team, Jonathan David's team, is saying, look, we'll try to find the right spot for you. But I kind of like that he's like, look, I'm going back to Juve. I'm going to put my.
But that's not the persona or the messaging that's being put out publicly. And sometimes if you are that world-class striker, things are leaked, things are put out there in order to put the position in a player of power. They're doing things quiet. That's Jonathan David's demeanor. I fully understand that. but the window closes in just a couple weeks. And I would just hate for him to be in a position where he's not going to play. Jimmy mentioned year number 2 as being kind to Jonathan David, both at Club Brugge and Lille. Here's the goal scoring. There's a marked increase in terms of production from year 1 at a new club to year 2. With that being said, if he's not starting and playing, what's that number going to look like? Like, he was the number 1 at Bruges. He was the number 1 striker at Lille at that time as well. So that's what it comes down to. So if it came down to playing for PSG in a reserve role, obviously be coming off the bench, or going to a club like Aston Villa or playing in the Premier League. Jimmy, you know what playing in the Premier League is all about. Do you think his style would be suited in the Premier League, or, he's already done a really good job playing in Liga? What do you think from a perspective?
He did great in Ligue 1. He knows the league, and people know that he can score. He knows how to unlock defenses there. And if PSG comes calling, you're going, are you not? You understand the league. You've been there, 5 years, I think he was at Lille?
Yeah.
So that would be a great option for him, but the Premier League as well. Because of Jonathan David's football IQ, he'll find a way to make things work. And that's probably part of the reason why he's thinking of staying at Juve, is because he is a smart, intelligent player. And he'll figure things out himself. And he's probably thinking, you know what, with the confidence that I have in myself and belief that I have in myself, I'm going to have a go at this. But he has to be ready as well, and his agent has to be ready to say, if it's not working, you've got to go.
By the way, he played for Ghent, not Club Brugge. Apologies. Your host, he messes up quite a lot. This is consequential because he needs to play in order for him to maximize his talent and ability for Canada. Jesse Marsch made him his main man going to the World Cup, Jordan. Played him in a position that not all of us agreed with, but still, he put him there because he's relying on Jonathan David quite heavily. Is that a consideration heading into this new process? Where and how much Jonathan David plays could have a knock-on effect to what his role could be in Canada's national team?
This is a loaded question, because obviously we talk so many times about where he should play for Canada, but I think the best Jonathan David we always see is the one who's playing week in and week out, right, and is getting those reps. So I think that needs to be taken into consideration. Aston Villa, PSG, if it's staying with Juve or other clubs as well. I just think Jesse Marsch, when he plays for Canada, and you look at Jonathan David, needs to consider using him in a different role. And the reason why I say that, at the age of 26, you want your best players playing their best football for Canada. And you can look at the data and the data and the statistics. Jonathan David is not playing his best football for Canada because I don't feel like he's playing in his best spot. So he needs to be playing at club form, but I also think Jesse Marsch needs to consider, when they come into camp, playing him in a different role, and that's maybe further up the pitch.
Is he still, looking ahead through this 4-year cycle, Jimmy, is he still a player to build around?
Yeah,
of
course he is. He's one of the best players that we've ever produced. And for me, it's about getting him back into that position where he is going to be scoring goals again. He is going to be confident. I like him in and around the box. I don't like when he comes deep, because I think him being a prolific goal scorer, we saw the numbers in Lille. The guy can score goals, and look how many goals he scored for this national team. But we have to get him higher up, and I think if he goes to PSG, if he goes to Villa, I think they'll play him differently as well and get him in and around that box, because they know he can score.
It's going to be a busy few weeks in the transfer window, and I'm sure that this isn't the last time we're talking about Jonathan David and a potential move, or maybe even a move away. That could affect his availability for Canada in the upcoming window. 3 games, all 3 of them you can watch right here on One Soccer. Chile, Peru, then USA away.